Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is continuing this correction to the downside, but we are currently in a deciding moment. This is seriously important for all Bitcoin holders to pay attention to, and later in this video, I'll be going over some other Bitcoin patterns and indicators that are playing out right now, so definitely make sure you're sticking around all the way to the end of this video so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, make sure to leave a like down below, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame, and this is a chart that I've been discussing for a while now, basically comparing this correction to the September correction. But with that being said, Bitcoin has just shown the first small difference between this correction and the September correction, and that is of course the recent dip below this immediate line of support, which was the support line for this descending triangle pattern here in the shorter term, whereas at the end of September, this descending triangle pattern played out to the upside. So of course, as I mentioned yesterday on the channel, a descending triangle pattern is a bearish pattern. So technically speaking, it is more likely to break to the downside. And getting into the technical price target for this pattern, now that we have broken below support, that price target is coming in at around 51,000 US dollars. But keep in mind, between now and 51,000, we've actually got a lot of support for Bitcoin. For example, bringing out the Fibonacci retracement tool from this low at around 29,000 back in July, all the way up to the Bitcoin all-time high, what we can see here is the 38.2% Fibonacci level coming in at just below 54,000, which is around the same sort of levels that Bitcoin is currently finding a bit of short-term support at least at the time of filming this video. And if you've been watching the channel over the past 1 to 2 weeks, approximately, I've been letting you know if Bitcoin breaks below this level just here, coming in at around 55,500 to form a new lower low, then I would expect the next major level of support coming in at around 53 to 54K, which is exactly where we're currently finding support. But you'll notice here in the Fibonacci levels, the next major level to the downside is the 50% level, and that is coming in close to 50,000 US dollars. But while we're here on the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin, of course, we are currently forming a bullish divergence, another bullish divergence, I should say, because already throughout this correction, we have seen a couple small bullish divergences along the way. And of course, those bullish divergences have played out very nicely. For example, we had one back here, which ended up forming a nice bounce to the upside and a bit more of a sideways consolidation, which then led into this bullish divergence that we discussed over the past few days on the channel, which of course led into this bounce back to the upside. And so right now, if we can confirm this 4-hourly candle close as a green candle right here and really confirm this as a short-term bottom, then once again, that would confirm this bullish divergence as a pattern that is forming. And that would basically mean that Bitcoin is due for some reduced selling pressure in the immediate short term, and we could be due for a little bit of a sideways consolidation or a slight bounce back to the upside if this bullish divergence confirms, which we'll find out within the next few hours or so. Now zooming out to the daily time frame for Bitcoin and taking a look at this trend line right here, because so far on this daily chart, Bitcoin has heavily respected this upwards trending line of support, and right now that is coming in close to 53 to 54,000, which once again at the moment, at least at the time of filming this video, Bitcoin is currently holding that level. So obviously a bounce from that level would be amazing for the bulls out there, but a strong break below 53,000 honestly would be a bearish sign, because not only would Bitcoin be losing this upwards trending line of support, we would also be breaking below this previous high on the charts that we set back in the beginning of September at around 53,000 US dollars. So it is seriously important for Bitcoin to hold above 53K, because if not, honestly, we could have a few more weeks of bearish price action before we see any sort of recovery. But with that being said, staying on the daily chart for Bitcoin and bringing out this moving average, which is the 120-day simple moving average. And as you can see, this exact moving average has provided perfect support for Bitcoin during these areas and also resistance back here. So it's definitely an important one to pay attention to. And right now, it is coming in at just above 52,000 US dollars. So we have all of these different levels of support coming in close proximity. So once again, I'm talking around 52, 53, and 54,000. And not only that, looking in the daily RSI, of course, back here, we did have a bearish divergence, which actually signaled the correction that we are having right now. We saw the exact same thing leading into the September correction. And we also saw multiple bearish divergences towards the beginning of this year before we entered that crash during May. And what happened in the daily RSI after we formed those bearish divergences? Well, the daily RSI simply trended down towards the bottom of the RSI band. In this more severe scenario that we saw back in May, we saw the daily RSI drop down towards oversold territories, which is not something that we see very often for Bitcoin, because you can see here the time before that was back during March 2020, which was over a year before this time around. And you can see when the daily RSI enters into oversold territories, those are some of the best buying opportunities that we can possibly get. But the second best buying opportunities according to the daily RSI is when we come back down towards the bottom of the RSI band, more specifically at this level coming in at around 34 34. Because what we can see here is all of these major market bottoms for Bitcoin have reached those bottoms exactly when the RSI has reached 34 on the daily time frame. And as of right now, the daily RSI for Bitcoin is currently sitting at around 37, showing us that we are potentially very close to the bottom for this correction, simply because we don't have a whole lot of room left to the downside in the daily RSI. So the further this goes to the downside, the more bullish I get, because once again, the further this goes into oversold territories, the better the buying opportunity according to this indicator's history. Of course, that's not financial advice, that's just telling you what this indicator means and what it's done for Bitcoin historically speaking. And just before wrapping up the video, I'll quickly mention that the S&P 500 index here on the daily chart is still showing us that bearish divergence that we were talking about a few days ago. And I'll let you know back then, when the stock markets were looking a little bit bearish here in the immediate short term, that it would likely have a negative effect on the crypto markets, because believe it or not, Bitcoin and the crypto markets in general are pretty correlated to what the stock market is doing. Now, it's not a perfect correlation, but just for example, you can see what happened during September. The stock market saw a correction during September, exactly like what Bitcoin saw. And then leading into October, the stock market flipped bullish again, exactly like what Bitcoin did. So basically, while the stock market is experiencing a little bit of volatility here and showing a few of these bearish signs, it would be more difficult for Bitcoin to flip extremely bullish in the short term. Not impossible, but just more difficult. But when we see the stock market start shooting to the upside again, like what we saw back in October, for example, then that can tell us that Bitcoin is about to also see another bullish move. But as of right now, it's all about just having patience, because once again, the stock market is still experiencing a little bit of short-term volatility. And in regards to the current trends that Bitcoin is in, on the daily time frame, we are still clearly in an uptrend. If we are making higher lows and higher highs on the chart, that is simply an uptrend. But on the smaller time frames, like the 4-hour chart, for example, we are clearly in a downtrend. We are making lower highs and lower lows. But once again, that's only in the short term here. We're only in a short-term downtrend, because as of right now, that short-term downtrend is only a correction in the middle of this longer-term uptrend that Bitcoin is in right now. And keep in mind, since yesterday, Bitcoin's fundamentals haven't really changed. So fundamentally speaking, Bitcoin is also still looking bullish. But keep in mind, that is for the longer term. Anything can happen in the immediate short term. If you enjoyed this video or got something valuable out of it, make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. And before we click off, check out these uploads if you haven't already, because these videos are here to help you potentially make more money in the crypto markets. But anyway, that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.